going to divert introduced us on Start With Why. And we saw how great leaders succeeded because they were driven by they were driven by purpose and belief, and they were highly motivated. That is why they were able to achieve all they put in place to achieve. Today, we are going to see on how the world, the people that don't start with why, how their own achievement is being gotten, or how they are being faced. Okay. On when people believe that the world was flat, we saw how he rarely explained that able to they stay put because they were afraid that they might fall off the edge of the tool, that the world is indeed round. Boom, behaviors changed. People started moving around. Trade routes opened. And people were highly motivated. Movements everywhere. Businesses boomed. And another example that Simon Sinek elaborated was when some Americans car executive, where they to see the assemblers of cars, they wanted to arrange their cars, like they fitted the doors of their car, but it was not well fitted, as Simon Sinek rightly explained. Why? Because from the knew at the end what happened. The doors were not fitted well, and it was not achieved. So it's to tell us, when reading from the book, is to tell us that when we live without that purpose, without that why, when we are doing things, or organization doing things without the why factor, it's difficult for them to achieve their goals. Or even if they achieve their goals because they assume at the moment, it will be short-lived. It will not be long. That achievement, some reasons why some people or organizations assume, why organization or some people decide to assume. First of all, incomplete information. Reasons why people assume incomplete information. When you lack complete information, we often fill in the blank with our own interpretation based on past experience. Yes, when information is completely lacking, we try to fill in the blank with our own interpretation or what we learned from the past. And then a second reason to this is making sense of a situation. Second reason why people assume, making sense of a situation. We naturally try to understand and explain events by assuming rather than gathering more details. Yes, details is very important. To be detail-oriented is very important. Maybe a situation is there at hand. We just assume that we can forge ahead by just assuming. And then the next reason why people assume to me is because it's easy and efficient. Easy to assume, very easy. We don't want to do research. We don't want to go out there. Like with large information around us, like if we are pressed with a lot of information, even if we are detail oriented with many different types of information around us, we try to pick from one. We just assume and pick from one because the information, first of all, is there. We just assume and pick from one. And I assure us, at times we assume it helps. Yes, when information is too much, like we don't have time to be going left, back and forth, we assume and pick one. It helps. Your organization can move from there, but don't believe that it will work all the time. It is not going to work all the time. Another reasons why people assume is an unconscious act, and it's automatic. Yes, many of our assumptions are automatic. Maybe because of our upbringing, or the environment we find ourselves, from different cultures, it just comes automatic. And what is the end goal? Failure. Failure. When we say from our upbringing, I can remember when we were growing up, young as we were, at some point our parents would tell us, when you see these people that ride in big cars, don't accept anything they are giving you because they are occultists. The assumptions that they are occultists. Now, growing up with this upbringing, and now you are faced with the world alone, and you need to achieve something. You need to achieve something. That assumption is already with you. If in case they are your destiny helpers, you will not go towards those people because you already concluded. You already concluded within you because of that upbringing is still ringing in your mind that these people are like that. Maybe you need a job. Maybe you need to work somewhere and you meet these people with these big cars that are the patrons of those places. And because of that assumption, you won't move ahead. You won't move ahead. It's just to tell us that assumptions comes with so many disadvantages and advantages. When we assume, you are not detailed-oriented. You are not motivated. Creativity is low. Yes, creativity is low. It comes along with, I'm citing the disadvantages of assumption. The disadvantages of assumption. When people sit and assume. When organizations sit and assume. What comes forth? First of all, they stop you from taking responsibility for your life. Like in our personal lives. When you just sit and assume. Because when you assume, you have already concluded. You don't take responsibility again in anything. It comes with laziness. And an elevated woman is not a lazy woman. An elevated woman is a woman, is an action taker. You don't sit and assume. Because you attended a conference, 2 days conference, you sit and assume that I'm elevated. No. You take action, consistency, you continue. You continue to achieve your goals. Being an elevated woman is not just by name, it's by achieving something. What do you want to achieve as an elevated woman? attended a 2 days conference, I am elevated and I am happy. I am contented with what I achieved that day. Is it all about the achievement? That is just for a short term. We need to consistently. Great leaders like the Wright brothers, Martin Luther King, they were consistent in what they wanted to achieve in life. And people could buy their why. People could buy their reasons of doing what they did. And it impacted lives. So we go further with some of the disadvantages. They keep you stuck in the past. Yes, like I rightly explained. From our upbringing, culture, and environment where we grew up. I remember growing up in my quarter, people will sit and say, teachers are not, teachers are not well-paid people in the society. So it is not right, or it is not good for anyone to become a teacher. They call it poor people. In where I grew up, I had that thing in mind as I was growing up, and I've never loved to be a teacher. Growing up, I've never loved to become a teacher because what I heard, what they assume, what they conceived in mind, what they have concluded that teachers are poor people. And growing up with this, I never liked to become a teacher. And this is my first time doing this type of, because I am going somewhere. I know I am forging somewhere. I want to be consistent in doing what I am doing. I thank God for this. And then number 3 disadvantage. They foster a negative mindset. Yeah, they foster a negative mindset. Number 4, they become a bad habit. Another point, assumptions at times are mostly wrong. Yes. Although there are some advantages, but the disadvantages of assumptions are always pride sets in. Another disadvantage, pride sets in. When you assume so much, pride sets in. Because someone like a boss working in a boss having his enterprise, when he takes all the decision, like when he alone makes all the decision, and if it happens at some point that he achieved his short-term goals, but I'll put it short-term goals because achievement with assumptions are short-lived. Achievement with assumptions are short-lived because if you repeat the process all over and all over, it will not take you anywhere. I think so. It will not take you anywhere because innovations are coming up. We are in a digital world. Greater coming up. So if you have that archaic idea, because this idea made me to achieve what I achieved, I will continue with this same pattern. It makes you to be stagnant. It makes someone to be stagnant, lazy. Creativity, motivation, no. It also weakens credibility. It weakens credibility. Assumptions also leads to misinterpretation of results because it is fast, very fast.
Send message to Aki and Papa.
We are called to be detail-oriented. We are called to be detail-oriented. The Wright brothers, those who start with why, there's a why factor. That why factor must be there for you to achieve long-term goals. Not just how, not just what. The why factor. People buy your why. People believe on what you believe in. And you keep a legacy. Yes, there is a legacy you keep when people believe in what you believe. When something is short-lived, I don't think people will remember you for that. The work of Nelson Mandela. We'll always remember Nelson Mandela. We'll always remember Martin Luther King. Because they had the why factor. They did not just sit and assume. They were detailed oriented. They were motivated. They had the ambition. They were audacious to do what they did. Okay, to continue with our class of today, my take home, maybe some of us, all of us, our take home for tonight. I know each and every person has his or her own take home, but my own personal take home. First of all, I need to question my thinking pattern, the way I think. I need to question it. Am I doing research? Am I working towards my goals to achieve them? Am I prioritizing my goals? Then it's good to ask instead of assuming. It's good to work collectively instead of just sit and assume. My take home. I need to ask. I need to get more information about what I want to embark on before I start it. So that at some point I will not be limited. I need to be consistent in what I'm doing. I am called to inspire. So that assumption factor should be out. It should out. Because assumption comes with laziness. And I don't want to be lazy. I want to be that elevated woman. That woman that will speak. That woman that will be remembered for something. Then I also need to allow people around me to bring that different perspective, that different ideas to contribute with what I first of all have. I need to open that door. I don't want to remain that type of leader that will remain in the position level of leadership. I don't want to be. I want to move ahead. Okay. I remember one thing. When I was working in one organization, talking of this assumption, how it brought down that organization. I had this type of boss that will always, that he does not listen to anyone. What he says is what you are going to do. He brought in manager, secretaries, but he is the only one deciding in his company. The manager has nothing to do, like to bring up new ideas. Why did you employ? We are called, being a good leader, you share tasks, as Mommy O'Reilly said. Share tasks so that the work will be easy. The load will not be much. But this man, he did not. He never wanted. That's, you even ask Papa, can you even introduce your son to this enterprise? So if today you are no more, maybe he will continue with your legacy. But say no. People should listen but to me, what I'm doing, what I want you people to do. And we continue listening to him. The place was just stagnant. Still, no idea, no new idea, no motivation, no. That's everything was standstill. May his soul rest in peace. Till his death, that place never grew to another level. I just believe he remained at that level of position leader. He remained at that level. He did not move ahead. And that is what we are saying. Don't assume you know too much. Don't assume you know. Work with the why factor. When you work with the why factor, you draw people with the same mindset towards you and you will grow. When we believe in what we are doing, people will believe also in what you are doing and follow you. And then you will leave a legacy. Because as of now, there's nothing to be remembered, absolutely nothing to be remembered. The only thing is that he once had a shop. An elevated woman, to me, I continue to talk about my take home. An elevated woman should be detailed oriented. I continue to use this word, detail oriented, action taker. Believe so much in what conclude. Try to listen from others. Pick from one place, do research, attend conferences. Follow this coaching, like this coaching class we are doing now. Follow this mentorship. Do research. Go deep. And influence. We are called to inspire. We are called to inspire. Like our mommy D will always say, we are called to inspire. Influence. And we should not forget got in front. I thank you all so much for listening. And I welcome any question and contribution.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Something resonated from what you said. One stood out. The assumption is easy. It's very easy to assume. And we all know. But we should anyway. It's easy to assume. Assumptions may not work. They may or they may not work. And all of those things you said about assumption. Thank you so much, Marie. We're grateful for how you took your time to go through the chapter and share your book on this first phase of our leadership.
I understand on this first chapter, assume you know, is that it's underlying. It makes people to understand their decision, emphasizing that leaders need to address the underlying why behind their actions, rather than just the what and how. People are more likely to be inspired and motivated. And I simple what and how something is done. So they need to know They need to know why
Please,
a particular action is being taken.
Cynthia, can you hear me?
Yes,
Are you seated close to another device that has sound?
Yes.
Please don't mute that for us.
I'm saying that this chapter is that the importance of understanding why leaders to the underlying why. When they address the underlying why, they will know the action behind it rather than just the what and the how. When we talk about the what, it is the principles behind what they are doing.
Cynthia, please. We're struggling to hear you. Maybe you take off your earpiece.
Okay. I'm saying what my
your device
in this chapter, my contribution in this chapter is that he highlighted the importance of why people take decision.
Cynthia.
And it emphasizes why leaders need to address their action rather than just what and how. And people are more likely to be inspired and motivated by a clear purpose than by what how something is being done. Hello?
We could hardly hear you, Cynthia.
Please, can you remove your phone from loudspeaker?
Correct.
Are you getting me now?
Have you turned off your speaker?
No.
Let her just continue.
I'm not even mute.
Okay, now you're good.
Yeah, you're okay now. You can talk. Yeah.
Maybe it's network. Hello. Hello.
Go ahead, Cynthia. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm saying this chapter this chapter highlighted the importance of understanding why people make decisions. And it emphasizes that leaders need to address the underlying why behind their action.
Okay.
Rather than just doing what or how they want to do it. When we talk about what we are talking about, the principles of what they want to achieve their why. And then when we talk about, when we talk about how, we are talking about the unique or the values of the principles, how they want to achieve their why. And when we talk about the what, is the tangible reasons behind their how and their why. Why they want to function. I think that's what I understood in this chapter.
All right. Thank you so much. Yep. Okay. Well, can we turn on our cameras, or maybe you want to raise our hands in the chat box to at least acknowledge that we read or that we did not read. Thumbs up if you read, or thumbs down if you did not read, so that we know how to proceed. So Patience, you'll be next to share your takeaway. Thank you so much. Who else read, please? Gwendolyn, you'll be next to share. No, of course, yeah. Patience, please get ready with your.
Hello, Maso.
Yes, Patience.
Okay. Let me take the floor. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Marilyn, for breaking this chapter 1 down. Honestly, I think that from way Maso explained this thing, because by the time I was attending last class and the way Maso broke this thing down, it has really helped me, because I was really like far gone, but I still was completely lost. So I was gone but lost. So when it came to chapter 1, I did read this chapter, and my takeaways come at different. They come after chapter 3 and ahead, because it was after I had heard Maso's introduction that I didn't understand what I was reading. So if I give you what my takeaway is now, I will be entering into uncharted territory, which is chapter 2 or chapter 3. And I don't want to ruin the fun for anybody. So that is my humble opinion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patience. And it's good to know that you've read ahead. Thank you. However, anyway, by the end of today's class, after Marie's presentation and a few things that we gathered, we'll be able to take something, at least a thing or two from the chapter. Love, are you free to talk? We understand you're at work. Can you find a minute? You don't have to turn on your camera. Just on mute if you can.
Yeah, I can talk. I'll talk a little bit.
All
I
right.
was reading, I think looking at that chapter, and I was just looking at it. You all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Loud and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think basically from my little understanding from what I read, it's like why should be the bone of contention of everything that you are doing? Because just like when she was reading, and I was just listening to it, kind of like you reminded as she was teaching us or just presenting, I just realized that assumption makes people lazy. Assumption makes you lazy. Assumption is a comfort zone of so many people. So people just take it like their comfort zone and they don't move forward, and it makes them start things, you can start up something that is really good, but because your why is not strong and you just have an assumption, and maybe you just assume that, oh, maybe I might not be able to do this thing. I might not be able to finish this thing. I might not, you're just assuming. So assumption kind of takes you away, from your main thing. And it takes you away from your vision. Let me put it that way. You have a vision, you have something you're working towards, a vision, but now you do not
I would like for us to situate him when he was writing. Let us step into his mind, address this subject, and especially immediately after the why, because he would like for us to know, from what I saw reading, he would like for us to know how assumptions affect our choices and the decisions